Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game you guys requested. It's also from yesterday. Yesterday was a rest day at the FIDE Candidates Tournament, so other things took place, and one such thing is that Magnus Carlsen came to a park and started playing chess against everyone, and one of his opponents was none other than Judit Polgar. Now the two of them have played many games together, and when I say many, I mean like maybe 25. I'm gonna check. I don't want to trick you, just to be absolutely certain. But yeah, okay, they played 17 games together, and in their classical encounters, Magnus Carlsen won 2 games. Judit won 0 games, and 1 game ended in a draw. But in rapid time format, Judit did get one very nice victory that we've shown on the channel. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. I will put a link to it in the description below. But this game, only 19 moves, but it's just an incredible attacking game. You guys will love this one. This is the venue, so you guys can enjoy that for a moment as well. What a great day to be alive and to be a spectator in this audience. Just soaking in all of this power on the board. It's a beautiful game. You guys wait and see. So it's a 3-minute blitz game. Let's check it out. Judit has the white pieces and she opens with pawn to e4. We have c5 by Magnus, going for the Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, e6 now, going for the sort of a French variation of the Sicilian, and the d4. Captures, knight to c6, knight to c3, and now pawn to a6, going for the timeout of variation. Bishop to e3, the Bastrikov line, and now queen to c7, actually the Bastrikov line. We have queen to d2, and knight to f6, and now pawn to f3. All very standard stuff. Played a lot today, even though castling queenside is by far the top move played today, but Judit goes for f3, strengthens the e4 pawn, and now if Magnus, for example, plays bishop e7 castles, then Judit is ready to start marching her pawns on the king side, and Magnus will of course start marching his pawns on the queen side, b5, bishop b7, rook c8, pawn to b4, and so on. So here, bishop to e7, not the immediate b5, Magnus first goes for bishop to e7, and Judit castles queen side. So now Judit is ready to attack. The question is only whether she will attack in the center of the board or on the king side. And Magnus starts with b5. We have pawn to g4, and now Magnus plays knight captures on d4. No doubt if you play the Sicilian, or if you play against the Sicilian a lot, you've had this position where black is attacking on the queen side, white on the king side, and if black goes for the premature b4, then you can just put your knight on a4, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this. If queen to a5, you don't really care. You can just defend it with b3, or even capture, play b3, and this knight is just spectacular here. No really good way to get rid of it. Black will have to play some like c5, bishop to d7 to just threaten the knight, but that's a whole lot of moves, and the black king is still in the center of the board. So instead, after g4, Magnus goes for knight captures, and the bishop to b7. And this is only move 11, but the position has been reached quite a few times between some very strong players. For example, Dominguez played g5 here against Anish Giri. That game ended in a draw. Sergei Karyakin also had this position against Veselin Topalov. Queen to f2 was played. Topalov won that game. So many strong players had this position on the board, but the move Judit plays has never been played before. Judit plays e5, and it is now already as of move 12 that we have a completely new game. So what's the idea behind e5? Well, you've cleared the e4 square for your knight, and you will be controlling these two squares very nicely. And now if Magnus goes for something like knight to d5, we can play knight to e4. We control these two squares, but it's nothing serious. Black is perfectly fine here. The knight can come to b4, and already black is putting some pressure on white. But Magnus does not go for knight to d5 after this e5 move. Magnus goes for knight captures on g4. He accepts Judit's pawn sacrifice, and that is a very dangerous thing in itself. Of course, now the knight cannot be captured because the rook hangs. Judit still has not connected her rooks. So now rook g1 attacks the knight, and now Magnus goes for knight to h6. Another way to play this would be to accept even this pawn with bishop captures on f3, but this would be, neglecting your development a bit too much, going for material, even though the engine really says it's perfectly fine. In a 3-minute blitz game, you can't really play this. And now bishop g2, so now if, let's say, bishop captures on a8, Magnus will not be castling queenside, and also you don't really want to castle kingside. And after knight captures on h2, grabbing another pawn, defending the bishop, then Judit would have this really awesome queen to f4 move, now just attacking everything. For example, bishop captures on d1, we capture the rook on a8, and now after the bishop goes back, we're just gonna capture the knight here. For example, the queen captures, pawn to f5, defends the bishop, and we get this really weird position where en passant is impossible because of queen captures on h2, but you know, equalish position. But you don't want to try something like this against a natural born attacker like Judit. So Magnus goes knight back to h6, and now we have bishop to d3. Now the rooks are connected, and with this bishop to d3 move, Judit sets a deadly trap for Magnus. For example, if Magnus castles kingside here, then rook captures on g7, and Magnus can just resign. Because after king captures, rook to g1 check, there are no good moves for you. Whatever you play, queen captures here, and now there's no defense against queen g7 checkmate, and also queen to h7 checkmate. So Magnus can't do this, but Magnus, not really a stranger to defending difficult positions. He just plays bishop to f8. It is the absolute strongest move recommended by the engine, defends the g7 pawn, and he says my position is perfectly fine. We have bishop to e4 by Judit now, grabbing more squares here, also hoping for a trade so the knight can go to this beautiful e4 square, then to d6 maybe in the future, and Magnus has to tread very carefully. For some reason in previous videos I always said thread carefully, and then some of you said it's not thread carefully, it's actually tread carefully, which makes sense. I have no idea why I was saying thread carefully. It's just one of those things, I guess, but okay, that's a completely different topic. But here Magnus has to play bishop captures on e4, and the game continues with you maybe even capturing f captures on e4, opening up the f file for the rooks, but Magnus plays probably what can only be described as the worst move Magnus Carlsen ever played, and that is rook to c8. We can even make this a thumbnail because it's just spectacular. And now Judit is completely winning, but you have to pause the video and try to figure it out for yourself. So feel free to pause the video and win the game for Judit while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on realizing that the queen is the only piece guarding the d7 pawn. If the queen is not guarding the d7 pawn and this bishop isn't here, then we just play queen captures on d7 checkmate. And for you, this is, she sees stuff like this in a blink of an eye, and she immediately played bishop to b6. So congratulations to everyone who found this. There is no defense against this, and now Magnus can just resign. Because if you move the queen anywhere or you just capture this, then queen captures on d7 is checkmate. So really awesome stuff. And if you don't play this, of course Magnus didn't. Magnus played bishop captures on e4, but now comes bishop captures on c7. Judit is now up a queen, bishop back to c6, and bishop to d6. Magnus played knight to f5, now comes knight to e4, and it was in this position on move 19 that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, as there is no point continuing this game. He's down a queen and there is no compensation whatsoever. So he could have resigned basically on move 15, dragging it out until move 19, I guess, maybe, just to play a few moves. But if anyone asks you, basically, yeah, Judit Polgar just completely destroyed Magnus Carlsen in 15 moves, which is just incredible. I mean, if you look at this game, how it went, first playing c5 the Sicilian against such a strong attacker like Judit, then going into this e5 line that has never been played before, and then not going for the safe knight d5, but Magnus accepts the challenge and starts grabbing pawns against Judit. That's simply impossible to play like this against such a strong attacker. And then in the end, completely blundering with this rook to c8. I'm pretty sure, like, if we checked all of the moves that Magnus played in okay, this is maybe not an official game, but it's official enough. He's playing a serious game against Judit Polgar. It's a 3-minute blitz game. They have clocks, they have everything. I'm pretty sure this is the absolute worst move Magnus ever played, as it just lose. It's like blundering a mate in one. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nice victory for Judit. I really can't wait for the next time two of them face each other again, as the games are always very enjoyable. So for those of you who still haven't seen the other game where Judit defeated Magnus, it will be the first link in the description below, so do check that out as well. So yeah, once again, really hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Jeffrey Cook, Abhishek Babui, Gregory Thomas, Gideon Franklin, and Jim Tran for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the FIDE Candidates Tournament until it finishes. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.